It is 12 p.m., January 13th. Let's get this Finance Committee meeting started. First up is the public comment period. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment, Rose?
No public comment.
No public comment. Anybody in the public that wishes to address the board? Nope. All right. Then we'll jump into items for discussion. Number one.
I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that we don't have public here and use some of their time and just say to everybody here that to the PUB staff, oh my goodness, thank you so much again. And I know I said this during the board meeting, but I feel like I can't say it enough for all your hard work over Christmas holidays. Thank you for everything you do for Brownsville. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And a round of applause. Justin's right. I mean, we need to celebrate the wins as well. And you guys did an absolutely amazing job over the break. So congratulations to leadership and to the entire team for being on call through the storm and helping the community out the entire time. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. I don't even know if we should go into item for discussion, right?
I mean, that's it. See you guys.
That's it. All right. Number one is presentation and discussion by external auditor Burton McCumber and Logoria on progress update on Brownsville PUB fiscal year 2022 audit.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So with us today, we have Ben Pena, partner with Burton McCumber and Longoria, that will be providing the update.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. We're in the final stages of the audit. We have completed our field work in late December. And so at this point, we're going through our round of reviews where myself as partner and even our quality control reviewers start looking at what all the work that was done, and if we have any follow-up questions with respect to the audit test and the conclusions reached. So we're going through that right now this week, as a matter of fact. We are still waiting for the report to be delivered sometime mid next week. It's kind of liken that to an expected father at a labor and delivery hospital expecting the child. It is going to be something that we kind of make sure that the amounts are correct, the disclosures are proper, and we'll be going through that report as well. So we're close to the end. Hopefully we'll have everything ready and tidy for the next board meeting for February to present our audit.
Great. Anything we can do on our end, Ben, to help with that process, or anything that you need from either the finance committee or the full board?
No, at this point, I think we're good. It takes a little bit longer because it's a first year. There's a lot of learning. There's a big learning curve for us, and as well as management, to get through everything that we look at. But for the most part, it's a heavy lift. It's a big audit. There's a lot of T's to cross and a lot of I's to dot, and we're working through that as fast as we can. So it is a heavy lift, but we'll get it done.
And we are expecting to have that for the February board meeting.
Correct.
That is the
Correct.
expectation.
Staff has been very helpful, very, very responsive to our requests and our questions and our commentary. So they've been very helpful. They really have a really good team on top of everything. So we're comfortable with that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Do we have Art attending? No? Okay. All right. Well, then, no questions on my end. Thanks for that update. The next item, I think you guys are covering as well. It's the presentation and discussion by external auditor BML on progress update on the review of the Tenasca project fund.
So on the Tenasca procedures, we are currently working through those. There's a lot of verification involved in, number one, understanding all of the transactions and flows between the Tenasca rate increase funds as well as the rate stabilization program. So we've got all that groundwork laid out. The next step is to obviously tie in the inputs of what those amounts are and determine the appropriateness of those values as well. And so Jose and I are working through that. Obviously, the push to get the audit complete kind of took a little bit of resources out of the Tenasca, but we're working to get that. I'm looking for sometime in February, mid-February to get that completed, hopefully. And so that we can wrap that up.
All right. Any chance that that'll be complete in time for the board meeting as well?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. We can certainly try, but I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, quick question for Mike, I guess. The money's still in the same place? Has it been touched?
Yes, sir. No, it hasn't been touched. It's still there in the capital improvement fund.
Okay.
And we'll continue to report back every month through our financials. We'll direct you exactly to where that money's at and confirm that statement every month.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right. In regards to that item, Ben, anything that this committee or the full board can do to help with the process?
Not at this time. I
Okay.
think we're okay.
All right. Well, if something comes up, please feel free to
Will do,
let us know.
certainly.
We'll obviously have that the scheduled board meeting in February, and I think the finance committee is available to meet at any time if we need to call a special meeting. If there's anything that we can do to help on either one of those items.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Anything else to add?
That's it.
Mike, anything?
No. We'll get there.
All
We'll
right.
get there.
All the information has been provided, everything that they need for the agreed upon procedures is in their hands.
Great. Monica, Marilyn, anything? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mhm.
All right, that does it for number one and number two. Number three is the presentation and discussion on BPUB's transmission access fees and transmission costs of service. Cesar, that's your item, and I think we had a presentation that was in our book.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chair. Mr. Folkman.
Will these presentations be available on our website as well for public?
Yes. As requested by the committee, we're going to present here the cost present update, and Eli will present for you guys.
Great, thank you.
Good morning. No, actually, we're afternoon already, right? Good afternoon, board members.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Sure.
I know when you're remote listening,
Hello.
it's hard to hear. There we go. Thank you.
All right, gotcha. All right, as mentioned, we're just going to give you a quick overview on the T costs and the transmission access fees and how they're derived and what they are and so forth. So beginning with the ERCOT transmission facilities allow generation to reach their load, instantaneous dynamic power flows across the grid to support reliability, and transactions between regions to optimize economics and risk. Charges for transmission are based on PUCT approved transmission rates multiplied by each entity's proportionate contribution to the ERCOT peak load. So what that all means is that we're all interconnected transmission wise. And because we're using a portion of theirs, depending on our load, we're going to have to pay other entities, other utilities for that use. And so, and similarly just on the same page, on the other side of things, we're also allowing other entities to interconnect, and they pay us a portion of what our, basically our cost of service is going, or a cost of transmission service. And that's basically the definition of it, the transmission cost of service. Okay, so transmission cost reflects the net payments. So basically, as I had mentioned previously, BPUB receives payments, and that's on a monthly basis, and also makes payments to other entities. So if you would go to the PUCT website, everything is listed there in a matrix, and it shows exactly what payments are made to each entity, and similarly, how much BPUB is receiving from those entities as well. And so all this is a transparent process. So at any time, any point, any of the members of the public wanted to go check these out and what those numbers are, they're able to do so by going to the PUCT website. All of those are, and for as many years as they have digital records, you can go back all the way down to 2019, 2015.
How often is that updated?
It's done on an every year.
Every year?
Every year,
Okay,
yes.
so it's a yearly?
Yeah, It's a yearly process.
In 2015, you said, and that's because we changed from zonal to nodal markets at that point?
I don't recall exactly when that happened, but there was a change and I have to get back with you on that. I think it was more on the 2011 time frame.
I know that's when it was approved,
Yeah.
but I know there was a transition.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just kind of curious,
Yeah.
the number keeps coming up, 2015, 2016.
Yeah, and I said that arbitrarily.
Right.
It could be that 2009, if you wanted to see the matrix in 2009, you can do so as well. right?
Oh, okay.
So we had already touched base on receiving and making payments. So BPUB receives payments, transmission facilities by other entities, and like I had mentioned, you can go to the matrix there. And I already covered the other portion where we're making payments on a monthly basis. So at the end, all things considered, we're looking at a net payment of $6.8 million a year at this current state. Over the next 5 years, however, and I think this is an important part of the discussion here. Over the next 5 years, approximately $11 billion of transmission projects have been submitted to ERCOT for tracking. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to be approved at once and built out at the same time. In fact, if you go through history, they more or less they're submitting about a little less than $1 billion per year on TCOS additions every single year. So I'm not anticipating anything more than that, but these last few years in terms of the electric industry have been different, right? We could say that. And so we may see something go above the $1 billion mark for 1 year, but that's something that we need to stay tuned to and make sure that we track that and make sure that we're making the necessary decisions to, keep that margin close. The 6.8 margin is what I'm talking about there. Assuming BPUB maintains the updated TCOS filings with PUCT, in which we do, we currently project that by 2027, BPUB's net transmission costs will rise to approximately 10.7. That's that margin I'm talking about right there. And so we have to actively be submitting projects for our transmission plant, our transmission operations and engineering. All that is part of the TCOS package that we could submit for reimbursement. And it's important to note that ERCOT's transmission investments include facilities in South Texas. So that benefits us, right? With regards to capacity and energy imports and export capabilities. So we have a few projects that are in the queue that would benefit the Rio Grande Valley directly. I can't give you specific details on those projects. I haven't necessarily studied them very well, but they are targeted to improve reliability in this general area. So risks and opportunities, and I kind of touched base on that last time. The risk is if we do nothing, that margin increases. Because we receive payments for the transmission facilities it owns, reducing or eliminated transmission assets would expose BPUB and its customers to the risk of much higher transmission charges. In the previous slide, I didn't go over it. It was like 2.5 of the operating cost. So that number, if it goes higher, then that percentage changes, right? And then it would represent more cost for BPUB and then obviously the customers, our customer base. So the opportunity is, and it always is, utilities and especially transmission owners are always looking for transmission investments, not only for reliability, obviously, but for the economic part of it, So the opportunities are that there is incentives or rates of return through our transmission submittals. So the more active we are, the more that we're challenging our own operations and improving our transmission, the better it's going to be for BPUB as a whole. I don't have anything else. Do you have any questions at this time?
Joseph, any questions?
By just investment in transmission, I want to just make sure we are clear here. We don't mean just power lines and transformers.
Correct. Yeah, there's a whole other, that's what we would call plant investments. So there's also the operations part of it, the dispatch part of it, the engineering part of it. There's a whole list of actual accounts that are already set up that would allow us to add to, as required, to not only improve our reliability, but the economic part of it as well.
Got it.
So I don't know, there's a supplemental, let me see if I have it here. There's a supplemental presentation that I think was also as an appendix, included as an appendix. And it gives you those lists of accounts that also are part of the T-cost formula. And let me just quickly give you the page and you can take a look at those. Those are also listed in the PUCT. It's a very,
50.
it is, okay. Yes, there it is. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great. And these, the T-cost fee, whether it's 6 million or whether it's 12 million, all of that is passed on to our ratepayers through the fuel and purchase energy charge?
That's correct.
Yeah. So if at 6 million, you're looking at about half a penny, and at 12 million, assuming it goes up to that, you're looking at about an additional penny per kilowatt hour.
So yes, that is actually correct point. And the more we invest in the system, the balancing goes down, and we also are able to make a rate of return on that investment on top of that number coming down. We stop investing, that number goes up.
If I can, I would also like to add that our last full T-cost study was conducted in 2020. It was filed on November 2020, and it ended up being approved in January 14, 2022. It took that long because it pretty much, there was chaos at PUC, but it was approved on January 14th. Our previous rate was at $97 per megawatt hour. We filed for $141.95. We got approved at $138.87. That was an increase of 43% over the previous. That was very, 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 very good.
And Mike, remind me, as per the Finance Committee charter, we're supposed to review that on an annual basis, or does it just say periodically? And the T-cost study?
Well, it's something that the Finance Committee is in charge of. But in accordance with the PUC rules, we're now required to refile a study every 8 years. So the next filing will be on November of 2028.
Okay, so we don't have anything that we have to.
No, unless we do any, we can always do an interim filing or file early if we have some additional or significant transmission investments.
And that's the point. It's a good point when he just said it's significant investment. So it's in our best interest that we have significant investments to file sooner than the 8 years.
Yeah, on page 24 of the supplement of the appendix, it gives us a history of where we're at. Beginning in 2024, it looks like that's when we're estimating a projection. That is not actual, obviously, right? They're projections. Like that's where we need to be in order to at least be at the status quo from where we're at right now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. A very
welcome.
informative presentation, and looks like there's a lot to digest there in the appendix. So we'll take a dive, and if some questions come up, we'll get to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Cesar, anything else on item number 3? We're good. Okay. All right, that is it for item number 3. Next up, number 4 is the presentation and discussion and possible recommendation of information upon pricing of purchase power, generation, and fuel, and their impact on fuel purchase energy and marketing charge. We've got Cassandra and Monica for this.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Monica Cavazos, Director of Finance. I'll be giving the presentation, and Cassandra is here if there's any questions
Great.
that
Thanks, Monique.
Go
And
ahead.
just again to confirm, the presentation that we have up on the screen, that'll be available on the website.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
It will.
Great, thank you.
The first slide is our comparison, our graph comparing us to other investor-owned utilities. This was December data, what we had available at the time the presentation was prepared. We have since then gotten updated information. And so you'll see, sorry about that. Magic Valley actually increased their price from 104.95 for the month of January. They're now at 130.95, so that was a significant increase for them. We did see some decreases in some of the other IOUs, and so the average from 167.18 in December, we will see the January average go down to 163.50, but still well above where BPUB is at 134.67.
That's great.
Quick question, who compiles this graph?
The accounting and finance staff, and this information is pulled from the PUCT's website monthly.
Okay, and this is our only including our fuel energy cost and our cost of generation or cost of service. Right?
This is our billing this is what we bill the customers, the average 1,000 kWh customer. So this includes the customer service charge. It includes the energy charges and then the fuel charges that the pass through the FEC rates as well.
Okay,
And the regular base rates.
The base rates that cover, correct.
and now just to, kind of clarify something.
Mhm.
How much of the Resaca fee goes into subsidizing our electric generation?
Absolutely.
usage? Absolutely none of the Resaca fee.
No, the
is
Resaca fee is strictly for the Resaca
Resaca
project, and it is
restoration.
restricted only to the Resaca activities.
Okay, great. So this number is everything that goes into our electric generation. And of course, the 10% that we give to the city of Brownsville, as required by ordinance. And
Yeah, so these numbers represent our bill to the customer, what the customer pays monthly, the average 1,000 kWh customer.
got it. And so if we didn't have that 10% that we were required to pay to the city of Brownsville, we would probably be in the newer numbers that you guys have posted on social media. We would actually be under Magic Valley right now, cheaper than.
We'd have to do a more in-depth analysis, but it's a possibility,
It'd be lower.
Below.
possibly. And so this data is pulled from the PUCT's website. These are providers. We run the data by zip code. And so these are providers that can sell to our customers in this territory.
I do want to add something as we provide this since 2017 to the city of Brownsville, and I sign off whenever our new fuel charge goes out. So a letter goes out to the city manager and copy to all the city commissioners, and that's been standard practice since 2017.
Is there something, is that also posted on our website so that the public is aware of the change?
We are in process of posting all of the letters, and I'm working closely with our PR team into getting it updated into the fuel landing page to include all those letters from the inception of that.
But the charts, the ones that you see on the screen are on our website.
So the next slide is just the 12-month history of this IOU comparison showing, again, it's through December. We did not have the January numbers at the time this was generated, but this just shows you the trend that we saw, the large increases in the summer. And now as natural gas prices have come down, we've started to see some of those prices come down as well. Magic Valley had a very unusual, huge drop in November, but they quickly recovered in December, and now in January, they've corrected their trajectory. This is a history showing what our FPEC charge, that's the fuel portion, the pass through to our customers. As you know, we had the October 21 rate, the 2952, we had that rate in place since March of 2016. And then in November of 21, we began with the board's authorization to slowly increase that FPEC charge to more fully recover our costs. And so that you see the corresponding customer bill, the average customer's bill, it went from $102, which it had been at for over 6 years. It's now, as of January 2023, it's at $134.67. And you see, this is the historical gas prices. We were up near the $9 range in the summer. We have seen decreases. You know, that price, those prices have come down. We saw a little bit of a bump in December, but we're seeing lower numbers again in January. So we do have some information for you on the presentation in the closed session. It's a little bit further information on how that impacts the under recovery.
Yep.
And that's it for this presentation.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you for these graphs. I mean, this helps being able to see the trends and
Yes.
everything else. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great information. I think it helps, it helps with the transparency and the clarity on the electric rate. So hopefully, you know, for those members of the public that are interested in learning more about their rate and how it's impacted by gas prices, if that's available on our website, hopefully it's.
Yes, we will. This presentation will be on the website.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all.
Are we still, do we have anything else to present on number 4? Cassandra, do we have anything? Okay, all right, so let's jump into number 5 then, which is the discussion of the BPUB's progress on natural gas hedging strategies and power supply. And this is Lena and Glenn's listed on it as well.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Today, I'll be providing a quick update on the gas hedging strategy, and Glenn will be providing his update on the power supply strategy. Make sure I open the presentation first. I don't know what I do. Okay. Staff continues to execute the tasks that were outlined in the prior Finance Committee meetings and the board briefings. Our near-term focus, what we have been working on for the past month, is updating BPUB's investment policy, establishing an ISTA agreement, and updating calculations and refreshing the pilot program parameters. Mike and Monica assisted us on many of these efforts. They've been very helpful. Thank you for that. And we will continue working with them. And Shell has really requested quite a few documents. They've requested all the way from board member pictures to city charters and everything.
Oh, that's when you guys had to take my picture. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's quite a few information, and everything pretty much needs to be verified by legal, and needs to be certified and by a CPA and so on and so forth. So it's quite a bit of documents. We didn't expect that much, but we're working through it. And most of it has already been compiled and is going to be submitted hopefully today or tomorrow.
Okay.
At the same time, they're also working on the ISTA agreement itself. So we're waiting to receive that. Once we get that, it's going to be a battle between both legal teams, I guess. And hopefully we can get that finalized in time to get everything set up by February. And if not, it might have to be pushed until March.
Okay.
Assuming the pilot program transaction behaves as expected, we anticipate requesting approval for ongoing gas hedging program implementation at the May board meeting, maybe even before, maybe in April. This is just estimated, I guess, dates at this time. The illustrated pilot program parameters, they've changed. Our model calculates this range in terms of risk and reflects the possibility of adverse and favorable conditions. Gas prices have gone down, so the numbers on this chart have gone down as well. The pricing that you see right here is as of December 28, 2022. And the range of the underlying fuel and purchase energy cost at 90% confidence is between 5.27 million to 6.50 million. To give you an estimate as to what we saw before, it was between 5.7 million to 7.38 million. So it's changed quite a bit. In terms of the anticipated pilot program hedge quantity, we're still considering for the month of February, 1,200 MMBTUs per day. And the current forward price for February, it's $4.27 per MMBTU. The potential hedge pricing assumes a 5% markup, and that's $4.48 per MMBTU. In the past, during the past meeting that we held with the Finance Committee, the numbers were quite different. So instead of the $4.27, we were looking at $7.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
it's
keep up the good work.
Not doing
Keep
anything
dropping
yet.
that gas price, whatever you're doing, keep
Yeah.
it up.
Not even doing anything yet, but thank you. Okay, so the notional hedge value is now $150,528. And this is nothing more than the volume times the price. It's 1,200 MMBTUs per day times the $4.48 per MMBTU times the 28 days. And the potential hedge settlement range at 90% confidence, if gas prices are low, we will pay the negative 48,000. If the gas prices are high, we will receive the 30,000. And because of the small size of the pilot, the impact is expected to be small as well. The potential settlements for the pilot program are expected to move in the opposite direction of the underlying fuel and purchase energy costs. And the whole goal is to hopefully by then be able to stabilize the pricing as well. So that's the plan for the hedging. And I think I already said a few of the items that are on this slide, but prices have fallen since our November 7th presentation on this topic. Assuming this trend continues, BPUV fuel and purchase energy costs should decline as well. And this should also create an opportunity to lock in a portion of our natural gas at better pricing than previously. And again, our plan is to hopefully be able to lock in something either in April or in May. And based on the chart, the next slide, it seems like it's a good opportunity to do it around those 2 months. So this was mainly to give you a quick picture as to what we've seen in terms of the gas pricing and how they've fallen. The next slide. The gas hedging timeline includes establishing the first ISDA. We expect to have it finalized by the end of the month. Update the investment policy it has already been done by Mike and Monica. Conduct the analysis and set quantities for the pilot program. We will continue to refresh this analysis until we lock in our price. And we did one in December. We're doing one in January as well. And until we lock it in, we'll continue doing that. Execute the pilot program. The plan is to complete it again by the end of January. Hopefully that stays and there's not too much disagreements between Shell lawyers and BPUB lawyers, and we can get that done. And then hopefully February, the pilot delivery occurs. We assess the pilot transaction results during the month of March, and then we present the pilot transaction results to the committee, to the Finance Committee and the board in April. And we request approval for the ongoing program implementation May or maybe in April as well, once we present the results. It's the next slide. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so Glenn will be providing the power supply strategy update.
Great. Dina, is there anything that we as a committee or anything the full board can do to help you out with your anticipated timeline or the process, either the pilot program or full implementation?
I think we're good. You guys already did. I got the pictures. That's all I needed pretty much to complete it. So I think we're good to go. I think it's going to be just that trying to get the agreement and get both legal teams in the same page and making sure that it can be done by the end of the month.
Great.
But thank you. Any questions or comments on?
No, I continue, continue to do what you guys are doing and let us know if there's anything we can do to help. I think this has the potential to be a very, positive tool for BPUB as we try and reduce volatility for our ratepayers. So anything that we can do to help, let us know. And whatever you guys are doing to, help gas prices drop back to their lows, keep doing it.
Thank you.
This project looks a whole lot better at 4 than it did at 9. So
I know.
very, very excited to see what you guys come up with, and hopefully, we're able to lock in good pricing for our ratepayers.
Thank you. Okay, Glenn is next.
Great.
Glenn,
Thank
are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you.
good afternoon. And Lena, could you or someone help me flip slides? Why don't we just leave that up on the screen, please?
Sure.
Great, great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on power supply strategy. I'll keep this fairly brief. The short of it is we continue to execute the plan that had been described before. We're on track per the prior schedule. We have had these multiple workshops with staff. Those have been very productive, including the most recent one was held yesterday, January 12th, where we discussed results of our initial analysis of a short list of resource plans. And I think that collaborative approach is going quite well. We certainly favor an approach where we can get multiple highly experienced people around the table rather than us just writing a separate report and kind of tossing it over the fence. So I think this is going to come up with a much more meaningful strategy than a simple kind of point solution of, here's what you should install and what year and so forth. So our current efforts are now focused on refining the analysis that we presented at the January 12th workshop yesterday. Just to let you know, though, the leading preliminary strategy continues to be adding dual-fueled reciprocating engines, such as the Wärtsilä engines at Silas Ray in small increments. There are multiple advantages to those pieces of equipment, and some of those benefits. And I would like to touch on this one issue just for the information and benefit of the committee. Is there continues to be some significant concern about ongoing natural gas availability at Silas Ray. This has been actually a chronic problem. It kind of pops up in different ways in different years, but I think it's important to understand that PUB has not been able to obtain for quite a few years what's referred to as a firm gas transportation agreement to receive firm gas supply at Silas Ray. Now, it has not normally been a problem. We generally have very good availability of natural gas. However, that's becoming a little bit trickier as flows down to Mexico increase over the pipeline capacity that does exist. And so we think it's important to become a little bit more serious about assessing the future for natural gas supply at Silas Ray. That can be done in a lot of different ways, and it may mean it makes sense to revisit some alternatives, maybe some additional pipeline investments or other partnerships with other entities to solidify natural gas supply at Silas Ray. And certainly, hopefully it's obvious, we don't want to necessarily invest in more gas generation at Silas Ray if there are concerns about supply. So that's kind of a separate train of work that I think needs to be done, but we're doing that in parallel with the resource planning. This ties with one of the key benefits of the Wärtsilä and reciprocating engines is that they operate on much lower gas pressure requirements than some of the existing equipment at Silas Ray. So for that reason and other reasons, most notably, with the smaller generation sizes of the reciprocating engines, we can effectively right size the future capacity investments and really only install what is really needed and not have to put in something larger simply because it's only available in certain sizes. So that continues to be the preliminary strategy. And as I mentioned, we're refining those calculations as well as considering other potential strategies as people suggest those. Next slide, please. But the plan here remains the same as before. As we continue to refine the calculations, we anticipate having some early February meetings. That would probably be the 4th workshop we have with staff. We would then finalize the documentation around those recommendations and review them with the Finance Committee and then the board by March 13th. And then assuming that goes well and everybody is tentatively on board, we would then conduct some more in-depth workshops with the committee and the board to really kind of vet the recommendations, to pressure test them, to make sure that every aspect that is relevant we've thought about, and we can then thoroughly document in the final report. So that's where we are, and I would certainly be happy to answer any questions you have.
So we're looking to have a potential draft strategy presented to the board by March?
That is correct.
Great.
It'll be by March, and hopefully we're targeting the board meeting. Of course, sometimes, if the report's not available 2 weeks prior to get us posted, and it happens to be available 1 or 2 days, we may miss the posting, so it's going to be throw it off to then potentially a special call board meeting or the April timeline.
Well, and if necessary, I would say that this is important enough so that if we needed to schedule a separate workshop where we could just tackle that item or present that item,
Will do.
we could bring that as something to consider for the full board.
Okay. And I can talk to the board chair and the vice chairs here and potentially having a separate subcommittee of the board to just address power supply, because it is a very important topic. There are numerous various different things that we're discussing at the workshop level, and the assumptions that are going into the strategy and some of the key factors that we need to do to be able to come up with the overall needs for the next 20 years for the utility.
Great. Great. Thanks, Glenn. Any questions for Glenn?
No, thank you.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
On the Wärtsilä engines, just so you know, they're pretty neat.
By the way, I think it's going to be this committee that's going to be your power supply committee.
That's fine by me. Are there any Wärtsilä engines operating
There is.
nearby?
And I was going to offer that to you. I do know the head of Magic Valley, and Magic Valley does have the Wärtsilä over there, so I can. It's probably in Hidalgo. I'm not sure where it got installed, but I remember those units in 2011 when they were unloaded here at the Port of Brownsville, driving down the expressway. And I may even have some pictures I took, at that time. But we can go visit the finalized product there from there, and I can ask them if we, as a courtesy, allows a site visit there.
Great. Thank you.
Now, technology has changed from when that unit was there, and so they have various different other engines, but it's more or less the same concept.
Great. Anything else to add on number 5, Lena or Glenn?
Not really. It's just we really appreciate the cooperation and the engagement of staff. It's always great to have that as opposed to just the consultant doing all the talking, and we're grateful for that, and we look forward to presenting some really strong recommendations in a month or two.
Great. Well, anything that can help us drive that cost per kilowatt hour down for our ratepayers, Glenn, is much appreciated. I know Lena and Cassandra and the team are working hard on this end. Any thoughts that you have, anything that you happen to come across, please send it our way.
Sure.
We want to make sure we can get that dollar per kilowatt number as low as possible for Brownsville racing.
Well, and maybe on that point, if I could just very briefly, we are first of all very much aware of that desire. We actually updated our objectives to clearly state the whole goal is to find ways to reduce rates within reasonable risk tolerance. But I think there's an important concept here where that typically when resource planning is done and you contemplate future investments, generally that's going to increase pressure on rates. Basically you invest more money, and unless you're just replacing just basically faulty, unreliable equipment, which is really not the case here, it tends to increase rates. And so you put those plans in place to reduce the amount of future increases you would otherwise have if you didn't plan properly, right? So you'd rather plan thoughtfully, get ahead of the curve, rather than having to be reactionary, and therefore you minimize future rate increases and maintain reliability. And of course, we're attempting to do that with this plan, but we're also considering other initiatives. It's not just a matter of power supply. How can we actually get greater value out of our capital investment spend? How can we, maybe adopt more of an operational excellence mindset so that we can not only, minimize future rate increases, but we can actually hope to, at least to some degree, make a dent in current rates. And so we're very mindful of kind of that difference between, just avoiding future rate increases versus actually finding a way to push rates down somewhat, right now.
Great.
And another thing I think that it's part of this analysis that is going to give us, we're going to be able to, I guess, consider and include as part of this is the fact that, as an example, Silas Ray 6, we pay a certain amount of costs per megawatt hour. If we were to retire Silas Ray 6 and replace it with newer generation that's more efficient and less of a cost, it might turn out to be, in the long run, it will be a benefit to the customer. It will decrease the pricing as well. So there's the big picture and then the easy stuff we can start working on already to try to reduce the rates. But we have several items already listed. We're participating in a large group, the
Great.
executive team.
I do want to say a little correction to what I said about Magic Valley. Magic Valley is part of STEC, with STEC is South Texas Energy Cooperative, which rights to the cooperatives are there. So if there's anything, misconceptions or anything's not intention, it's just STEC and, interchangeably used as
Yep.
one and the same, so.
All right. Well, thank you, Lena. So is that it for item number 5 then?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. At this time, do we have anything to discuss in closed?
We do.
We do.
We do have one item to discuss, and it has to do with the fuel and.
Okay.
Mhm.
So at this time, we'll go ahead and move into the scheduled closed meeting. So it's 12:47 PM. We'll enter closed meeting.
Mhm. Podium? Oh, blur. Podium?
Good to go? All right, it's 1:04 PM. We've now exited closed meeting and reconvening the open meeting. Number 6 is discussion, possible recommendations on closed meeting items. I believe we have none. And number 7 is discussion and/or request for future agenda items. I think we covered it. Keep us posted on the audit and the TANASCA work. And then anything we can do to help on the hedging program and any of our power supply initiatives, let us know. If we need to call special meetings, don't hesitate to ask.
Any specific dates on the tours, if I can talk to other utilities for Wartsilas? It seems like you guys wanted to see the power plant, or no? Yes, it is an action item.
I would say, given what we have on the agenda right now, maybe we can get through the February meeting and maybe look
Okay.
at something in February.
And I can coordinate, we're going to be close by to our Hidalgo Energy Center, which PUB has a co-ownership there. We'll do that visit at the same time.
Great. All right. Anything else? No? Well, I was hoping to get you guys in and out in an hour, but we missed our target by 5 minutes. So I apologize for that. But at this time, 1:05 PM, this meeting of the Finance Committee is adjourned. Thank you very much, guys. And again, just echoing Joseph's comments from earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you all.